And here we are again at Web Summit, talking innovation, talking about the changes that happened in the last year, the changes that are happening right now, and what will happen in the future. We have an amazing person to talk about that from the venture perspective point, and that's Brian Smiga from Alpha Partners. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Ivan. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you very much for your time and your energy that you brought to this interview. We discussed a lot, but let's go back just a little bit. And you said one amazing sentence about the crisis that is on.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Do we call it a crisis? Do we call it a bear market? How do we call it?
We call it a down cycle.
Okay, down cycle.
Call it a down cycle, and the down cycle is healthy, right? So for change officers, right, we seek change and how we take advantage of this change, right? So this is a big reset. Asset prices reverting to the mean. All the tourists that were coming into companies without doing diligence have exited, right? So for the serious, lifelong career venture investors, we can now do business as normal, right? Normal prices, decent time with managers, enough time to diligence. And we can seek out the companies that are more recession resistant,
profitable,
that are growing efficiently, etc.
That's for sure. What kind of companies Alpha Partners work with? You work with the early stages VCs, and you.
Alpha Partners has a model that was built for a down cycle. We started in 2014, expecting we would see this down cycle before now. And we're really excited. So how do we work? We leverage two trends. The first is that venture-backed companies today stay private 3 times longer than they used to do, and they become 10 times bigger. They become decade unicorns, right? So if you could invest in pre-unicorns, and they could go to 10x, 20x, that would be a good thing, right? Okay, second big trend. The rise of the micro specialist VC around the whole globe. The bulk of early stage VCs are small first, second, and third time funds. And these micro VCs, these specialist VCs, they outperform in funding the pre-unicorns. They are in 80% of the cap tables of the pre-unicorns. And almost every single time when the companies reach a Series C round, they don't have any capital left to follow on in their winners. So Alpha has stepped into their shoes. Shares carry, that's the profit interest with them. We become deputies, if you will, right? We go in together, they stay on the board, right? And together we profit. And together our LPs profit because they get into deals that are oversubscribed into pre-unicorn companies. That's how Alpha works.
That's I have to tell you now. When you were talking, I'm very proud that we are part of one venture that is that has niche that are into several niches, and they understand that market exclusively well, and I'm sure that. As the time passes, will bring you in for the or the partners like you bring in and.
Do you want to hear an example?
Yes, please.
So here's an example. Ben Sun of Primary Ventures. He's now on the Midas list. So he's one of the most 100 successful investors in the world in venture today. But back at the beginning of his career, he had a small incubator, and he only did e-commerce companies. So he actually wrote the first check to the Harvard Business School dropout who formed Kareem in South Korea. Sorry, Coupang in South Korea. Coupang in South Korea. And he stayed on the board. The company grew to over $1 billion in revenue. Now Sequoia is leading a $100 million round. Sequoia puts down $50 million and says, okay, insiders, you can do the other 50, but you only have 8 days. So Ben has no money left, right? But we're friends. He comes to Alpha. He says, I want you to do my pro rata. He has fantastic information on Coupang, right? So we co-invest with him using his pro rata rights. We keep him on the board. He's so important to the company, they actually expanded his pro rata.
And then Sequoia comes, I'm saying.
That's right, from 6 million to 16 million. Okay, so fast forward to the IPO, Coupang IPOs for 20 times return. Our investors get back hundreds of millions in profit. Ben gets 30 million just from that pro rata. It's the deal of his career. So this is how we work with the early stage expert VCs to help them become more profitable in their winners. That's how Alpha works.
But you were also involved in another, and you mentioned it, Karim, because we are mostly
because you're in Dubai.
Yeah.
So Karim's another story, right? So where did we find out about Karim? We found out from Andy Farha when he was over visiting the United States from Dubai. Pioneer VC in Dubai, investing in this innovative company competing with Uber. The company's now beating Uber, right, at about a Series C. It's growing 50% faster using 1/5 the cash, right? Very cash efficient. So we co-invest with Beko and Karim. This becomes a 3x opportunity for us. This is how an investor in New York, Alpha, finds deals around the globe by working with hundreds of early stage specialty VCs like Vel here.
Yeah. No, that is something that is very interesting, not only for the markets locally, but as a global market. What trends do you see now? You tell us about what's going on now, but what trends do you see from now happening in this VC market? Do we go more specialized, or we go more broad in the investments?
No, I think we're in an era of increased specialization. You have highly specialized technologies that are driving into every industrial sector. It's just happening faster. And the reason it's so exciting today is the professionals are now back at the helm. Career VCs are investing at normal prices in great companies. So besides mobile and cloud and data that drove the last decade, and they're still all in early innings. We now have, sensors and IoT, robotics, automation, AI, machine learning, and other new technologies intersecting with every industry. So you have the niche specialist VCs that are in 80% of the pre-unicorns, and they're almost always constrained. So my advice to the change officer, whether you're running a company or a family office or a sovereign wealth fund, is work with these early stage VCs like we do. On a small scale, you can make sure you pick off their winners when they're market proven. And also come with Alpha, because we do this on a global scale with 800 VCs.
The market on the Middle East is mostly saturated with family offices.
Yes.
And they can be on another side of those micro VCs that you are mentioning.
That's right.
And do you have any advice for those family-owned, high net individuals or angels? Or do you have any advice how to approach the micro VC funds like Wells?
Sure. So in Dubai in particular, they're developing an expertise in crypto.
Yes.
And so then there's deeply specialized VCs in the region, and then there's companies coming from all over the globe to build crypto companies in Dubai. Yes. It's going to be their first specialty, right? So I would get to know all those VCs. Whether you invest in them or not, they want to talk to you because they're always going to be raising capital. And say, look, I want to see some deals. I would like to see some deals. And then for those you invest in, you invest with a GP, insist on getting co-investment rights. Now, this is hurting my own business because I'm in the co-investment business, right? But it's only going to put a little tiny dent in what is otherwise a 60 billion per year pro rata gap. So Alpha's operating in a global $60 billion a year pro rata gap, right? And so we want family offices to do the same with the GPs they work with. So that's my view, is the expert VCs really should be 10-year relationships where they show you deals, they educate you, then you invest in the best of them, go into their pool fund, but insist on getting co-investment rights with them. Don't only do co-investments. You've got to be invested in a few funds. These are going to be your allies and your experts.
For sure. Well, you had some questions.
Just to continue on that one, how do you see...
we don't see you, but we can hear you.
How do you see the world of venture building? Venture building is a new old trend.
Yes.
But now it's emerging quite a lot, especially in these micro specializations.
Yes.
Fintech, sustainability, media. What's your opinion on that, and what's your advice for the venture building companies and how to match with the VCs and
Sure. I think accelerators and venture builders are going to continue to be very important because of this increased specialization, right? So I would look to venture builders where the partners have deep specialized knowledge. I think the advantages in a studio or builder model is you got all the equity at the beginning and you're only giving a portion of equity to the founders. Instead of them starting with 100% and maybe you're buying expensively 20%. Now, you're going to have a higher failure rate? Perhaps. And you've really got to be good at synthesizing teams and building a culture. It can't be artificial. But I think when it comes back to the expertise and the success of the founders of the builders, they're going to infuse that knowledge into the companies they build. I think it's a good model. And we will source from builders and accelerators happily going forward.
Thank you.
And one other question. Sorry, you want to cut something?
No, you're fine.
No. Okay. So, what is the time?
You're saying we have to go. So.
Wow, we have. Okay, just one more question.
Yeah, one more question.
Okay. So one more question. Sorry.
We're having too much fun.
Yeah. I have so many questions, but let's pick one. One question for the end. Obviously, as you said at the beginning, U.S. is the capital of venture capital.
Not anymore.
But how do you source? How do you source, and how the funds from the Middle East or Asia Pacific approach you? How?
Sure. Well, we're alphapartners.com, so just drop us a line. Our portfolio and our models right on the website, right? And it costs nothing to work with us, right?
Yeah.
We become friends. We do an annual portfolio review with you. Even if it's going to take 3 years, if you're a venture builder, an accelerator, for a company to get to a Series B or C round, we want to get to know you, right? Because we've been in business now 10 years, right? Ben's son, when he invested in Coupang, he had $2 million under management, right?
Yeah.
So innovation happens everywhere. We can't be biased to Silicon Valley, New York, any geography, right? And innovation happens everywhere. In fact, in some places, because necessity is the mother of invention, right? Dubai is going to be the best place to innovate in crypto, I believe, in the world. And I bet Dubai and the Middle East finds a couple more verticals, like perhaps healthcare or life sciences, to also specialize it, because they're clean slate. They have built an incredible open society in a decade, right? I'm very bullish on Dubai. I'm very bullish on Singapore, because I think innovation happens everywhere. It's the human spirit, and so therefore every geography is going to have its own special sauce. LA is going to have a special sauce. New York's going to have a special sauce. And I say it like I'm from New Jersey, a special sauce. Anyway, all right, gentlemen, thank you.
Yeah, Brian, thank you very much. And I really hope when you visit this
Invite me.
Dubai sauce.
Invite me.
No. We'll definitely have a longer conversation and in our studio.
I look forward to it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Ivan.
Once again.
All right.